Session to order. Tonight we have on our court session agenda, we have the Hickory Valley Road with Tony and Ronnie. So will you give us an update on Hickory Valley?
We got the overears to sign Saturday, to sign the release, and you said the lady came in today next door to Caraway.
Yeah, Ms. Caraway came in today.
So she signed her release so we can start working.
Yeah, the only thing I told Mayor is I want to call the guy back with him and make sure we don't have to have a problem with stuff that stream. I think he told me to remove it, but I don't know.
So it will still be open from the last time, basically, right? If it-
According to pulled the permit.
I don't think it's full.
And if y'all don't mind, would you speak up? They're saying they can't hear y'all, what y'all saying, so if y'all don't mind speaking a little louder so they can.
So that's all we gotta do, right? Okay.
If y'all gonna listen, we gonna quit talking.
Talk louder, we'll quit talking.
And I say, they asked us to speak up because they couldn't hear us. I said, well, we just gonna quit talking so you won't hear us.
Is there anything else y'all need to add to that? Is that it?
No, that's it.
Okay, Charter Spectrum, we had an increase of charges, $24.96 a month, and Amanda's thinking this is because we have not had a contract with them, and we've not signed a contract yet because we've been trying to negotiate to try to get the rates lower. And do you want to speak to that?
Well, yeah, talked with them in a meeting, and then and the salesperson agreed to lower rates, and now they come back with an increase.
Did we, did we give them their franchise yet?
No, we have not. We're trying to go negotiate with them to give us a better deal.
I think we need to worry more about this than we do, and then this will kind of go along with it. We can.
So the extension on the franchise has not been given, okay.
No, we have not given the franchise yet because we're trying to negotiate
Yeah,
some.
so that's got to give us some leverage on this,
Yeah.
We voted to.
but we haven't signed anything.
I'm pretty sure we voted to back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it came before you, but if you haven't given it, that's a good thing. And, yeah, that's, at one point he said there was, I don't know, $200, $200 savings, and now there's an increase of 25. You're right about the left and right hand. That sounds like something different.
So anyway, we've not signed anything yet, so we're waiting to see what they're going to do with this because I think that, like that they're saying.
And I think, you know, they told me in the first quarter, or the first half of the year at the longest, that they were intending to run it out y'all's road and on out into the subdivision and all that, Hickory Valley and Bill Smith. And then I think in your subdivision, have you got in your subdivision?
We have underground utilities.
Well, they said that didn't matter. I mean, they do that too. But he said it was on the books, but I hadn't heard anything else from him. And I just accidentally talked to him because they came walking into my office wanting to give me charter.
Maybe we need to just maybe make another phone call to them and.
Sit down, obviously, sitting down in front of the guy, you know, was beneficial. It's been since he disappeared that his agreement or understanding went away.
Jerome, somebody at the main office I was talking to, and you were talking to Taylor, or somebody like that. We need to get to them.
And Taylor is the one that
We met
made all the commitments.
Yeah. Well, Jake, I told you his name a minute ago, now I forgot. Jerome.
They're writing, everything's
Well,
subject to change.
You know, they're wanting the easy renewal.
Yeah, but, you know,
It's allowed under the Cable Act. If they thought that you were going to push for a full contract review, they would think, okay, well, that's going to cost us money. Of course, it costs you money too. But
if we're gonna give them the franchise, we need to get some commitment on how they want some improvements. I mean,
Exactly. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're trying to do.
Improvements, especially for the city. I mean,
yeah, whether City Hall gets, you know, $200 improve, 200 is 200, I understand, but we can
generally,
negotiate. and
So
get some-
everybody's in agreement with
get more
us
people
to
service
keep
and stuff.
negotiating that?
Yeah, I am.
So what about the 2990? So it doesn't go on.
And that's what we're saying, that's what we're saying.
Well, that's,
Because
but,
they was
It
in
just sort
line,
of went away.
well, they was in the shop down there today trying to get us to sign over, and that's what they said, $29.99.
and that's what we've got in this
No
contract.
contract.
They walked into my office, that's when I didn't go fishing for them or get out of place or nothing, but they come walking into our office and they had to run service from, you know, all the way down close to the, what
So
we
maybe
call the
we need to
pigeon
call
farm.
Taylor again and get him back in here.
Something.
And they even said they're buying our contract in Windsor.
Okay.
If we
And
change
they,
it.
if you're obligated, but there's no obligation, Windstream month to month, is what they,
No, well-
Windstream told me.
Well, see, I just reviewed my contract and one with Windsor. I mean, not Windsor, but Century.
Oh, I'm on Windstream. And I didn't, they tell me mine's month to month.
Yeah.
But, they also told me I was gonna get cable TV, that they were gonna run me cable and all that. It runs right in front of my house and I have to get it in February. I haven't got it yet, so.
Yeah, well, we'll just keep negotiating with them. I'll call him tomorrow and see if we can set up another meeting, and if y'all want to come to, somebody wants to come to that meeting,
I
they're
don't
welcome
mind
to
if we-
come. So let's
I'll
see
be
what
around.
we can get out of them. Okay, moving on to the next is our abacus meeting. We met with Mr. Barfield, last week and let him know that we were not very happy with our services and with the fees they're charging us each time we have to call. He came in, he is waiving those fees. They're going to be refunding us the money for, that we have paid them so far. The fire department had a major problem this last weekend. Mike contacted me at home. He had tried to call several different numbers that he had. Tony also tried to call several different numbers, could not get in touch with anybody. So I called Mr. Barfield because I had his card and he was the owner of the company. And within an hour or so, once he called me, they got on in there and remotely was able to fix part of the problems. Mike, you said part of the problems in the fire department?
I'm sorry,
You said part of the problems they got fixed in the fire department?
I got 90% of it.
So
Still
anyway, but he decided to waive those fees, and he's assuring us that he's gonna take care of this problem for us. And so Scott had asked me about if we needed to, he's looked over what we signed with them, and there is a possibility of getting out, but after talking to the clerks, they're afraid it's gonna cost us more in the long run because we had to give local government fees to have them have access to it. We got the firehouse software that they had to have access to. So it would probably cost us more in the long run if we tried to switch right now, so.
Well, can you talk to these two people, the local government and the firehouse, about telling them our situation and see if they'll waive their fees?
They
If
will
we
not
get
waive
rid of
anything. When you give those kind of.
Have you talked to them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You, they will, when you have a third person accessing into their computer, you have to pay a fee for that. And that's what we had to pay for for them to be able to access into it. Now, Mr. Barfield, when he came out here and talked to us and everything, he assured me that those problems were going to be fixed, that he was the owner of the company and that the person we had been dealing with was basically his manager in it, and he has assigned one person now to us. And it's,
Set up yet?
yes, it's set up.
So we're not on the dummy
No,
anymore?
we're on our server now that we paid for. So I think we need to probably give Mr. Barfield a chance to try to rectify the problems that, and if we still continue to have, then I agree that we need to go ahead and dismiss it.
And maybe we need to make him aware too that we are considering changing software, and we expect them to help us on the price of that when we get ready to do it.
Well, the
If we do it, I think we ought to
QuickBooks is very
agree
cheap.
to.
It's not near nothing like what we're paying for this local government stuff.
And
It's not cheap, but it is not a, big fee like we're paying this local government a software now. No, you don't. We don't have to pay for the third-party access for it. But he came out, Mr. Barfield came out and met with Mike, myself, and Tommy, because Mike was having problems with the fire department back there. And he assured us he was going to take care of the problem. Also given Tommy and Mike, did you get the number to directly call
I have not.
Okay, Tommy's got that number, so you need to get it from him, so that if you have any problems, you can directly call him, and they will have a tech get right on it, he said.
My idea is to try them out till August or September. I think everybody kind of agrees to go to QuickBooks or something, and then if they hadn't been stepping up to the plate between now and then, same time we're swapping to QuickBooks.
Well, after all the problems we had just getting this server hooked up and everybody's programs run, we're kind of afraid to change right now because
I know,
they've just
but like
about
I say,
got all the bugs that we think about worked out.
If we're not satisfied with them by
Knock on
August,
wood.
then we can go ahead and swap everybody.
But they would,
Split
but
it.
I'm like y'all, if we continue to have the problems, then we need to do something.
Yeah, and we're gonna be doing all the other change anyway. We're doing it in my office right now, and it's,
Okay, just want to
Chaos.
make everybody aware too that there's going to be some expected overtime for the fire and the police department due to the little storm because we had roads shut down and our was impassable. We had roads impassable, and that so we had both departments had to call in extra personnel to be able to handle the emergency. And Mike will go into his details when he gives his report, and I'm sure the police department will too when they give their report.
I don't know how this works, but I know when I got down to Rowan that night, I don't know how many hours the Margaret policeman was there. He was on duty in Margaret, so I don't know when other municipalities
Well, this is how it was,
assist us.
this
How does that
is how it was explained to me. We have mutual aid. There's times where Margaret does not have any police officers on duty or any firemen, and they're needing help, so our guys respond to them. So it's like a swap out.
we sanded their roads during the night.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like a swap out, like
Yeah.
Springwood was here,
Right.
Margaret was here, Trustful was here. So if they need our guys goes there. If those guys if we need somebody, then they come here. So it's like a swap out. But that's what the mutual aid agreement is about.
So should we send a letter of thanks to those cities to be ready
Let
for
the-
council meeting?
Let the fire chief make a call on that.
Kind of thank them for the cooperation.
Well, that Mike, do y'all usually do that?
Well, we don't usually do that. We can do that. Just last week, we spent 14 hours fighting Springville's woods fire the week before last. So they're, it's kind of a given. We help each other out so much.
Right.
One
You'd be
municipality
sending a letter
can't
every
stand
day.
alone.
Yeah, everybody already knows.
Okay. I'm fine.
And I did go on Facebook and put a thank you to all the people
That was really good.
that had helped and everything. Also, we got a letter from the county, so while we're talking about the storm damage, we got a letter from the county letting us know that we have no authority. They read the post that was put on Facebook, that we have no authority to shut down a county road, that it's first responders, our police department, or our fire department, so I'm just gonna pass this letter around and let y'all look at what it said.
In the event that there's a life emergency, something like that, then the first responders can easily, on a temporary basis, close it down. No problem at all with that.
I started receiving calls from the very next morning from the county commission, and
My thing too is, it ain't necessarily closing the road, but once you close it, you're taking responsibility.
You're just making it safe. I talked to
Well,
Ken Crow today. and
it basically
We
what
don't
is,
need
You gotta
to take
list it
responsibility for it.
impassable not to take the thing, and that's what it
But
was listed wrong.
What it is when we close it, and then we open it, we take responsibility when we
Yeah.
open it. And if somebody goes out there and gets electrocuted or something like that, then it's on our backs. The county needs to be,
well, there's a reason they do that, because if
Yeah.
you'll notice in the storms or anything like that, they say roads are impassable.
If
They don't
you-
usually say the roads
If
are
you
closed.
list it impassable, then you don't have to, if someone goes around the barricades or and all that, then it's on them.
When you barricade roads, you gotta have somebody manning that
yeah, but
barricade.
that's fine, I don't mind that, but our problem is we open the road, we officially opened the road, the road commissioner did. I caught more hell about that one little statement, excuse my language. Everybody that wrote me, I must be the assistant road man or something
No,
like
you
that.
didn't catch a lot of it, I did.
I did, I'm telling you, all
I got
over
several
town.
calls from the county commission about that, so.
But,
And then we got that letter today.
But I understand, we all learn, make mistakes, I
Well,
make
you make
mistakes too.
mistakes with everything.
Yeah,
so-
I'm
And
saying.
Ain't
everybody's
none of us
new at
perfect,
this.
we're all gonna make
We're
mistakes.
new at this, so it's all gonna be there.
Okay, also, we got we met with JBWT on a new invoice. They were charging us, the previous administration had, had their engineering firm come out and do some engineering work here, the handicap, parking spaces and stuff. And they had billed us for, $15,130. Tony being in that industry, he kind of, tried to negotiate that price because he didn't feel like that the scope of their work. And I'm gonna let Tony explain what, he did, what he discussed with, JBWT.
Yes, so what I did, we had a contract, an unsigned contract. I don't think a signed contract exists with it. But the two things that they had given us a contract or an estimate for was to do a survey of this property for the design of the parking lot and whatever else that we needed, other improvements we needed. They also had a line item in there for preliminary design. They had listed out what they were planning on doing in that preliminary design phase of the contract. And when we looked at what they said they were gonna do in there versus what they'd actually billed us on, they had probably done 40% or less of the work, but we had been billed for most of the contract amount. So we met with the owner of that company, and he agreed that it was more likely around 40% of what they had proposed that they do, and so he reduced his invoice. However, during that meeting, he told us that he had never billed anything for the plans in the construction administration related to building of those parking spaces out there. And so when we got the final invoice from him, or we got the revised invoice from him, we had a 40% reduction in the preliminary design of build phase. But then we also had, so we got our credit there, but we had an increase of $1,700 for the design of that parking out there. So what we have to decide is, are we okay with that $1,733 for the design of that parking? Or do we need to continue negotiations? Before we can move forward with this project, we have to take care of this one way or another. It has to be clean, we have to have it paid off.
So that was the design and the installation.
That was the
No, we didn't pay, the
design,
installation was different.
the design and the bidding of it. Construction administration. So that would be whatever kind of bid package they put
Do
together.
you know anything about the agreement for the design?
1,700.
Y'all should have in your packet,
Yeah, but it's not got anything about that.
Substantial from that, but he did.
I'll check with Paul and see if there was anything said about that, or if it was in this
There
figure.
was no paperwork. I don't know what you got.
Ian may have it right there.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it too, mine just not pretty and in color like hers.
That's a copy.
Does that say something?
This says not to exceed 85.
That's the only thing we have right there.
And that's what they reduced. The topo was done. There's no discussion about that, so there's $8,500, and they billed us for that. Then the next phase was for $9,300, and that was preliminary engineering, and that's what they've laid out, what all we're gonna do there. It doesn't specifically mention anything about handicap parking. So initially, they had billed us about $7,000, a little less than $7,000 into that phase of the
Let's not
work.
look at that, if you don't mind, Tony.
And they actually reduced that down to from 6630 to 3710.
Do they have any paperwork?
But now they
They
want to
don't,
add,
they said they don't have anything signed.
but they want to add 1,700 back.
That's right.
That means, I'll ask Paul. He'll know
1,700
if
just
there was
for
All
anything.
the paper, they sent us all the paperwork they had, and everything we've got is
Well,
right.
see, Paul will remember, it might be that
And
about
so-
1,700 was supposed to
It
be in
sounds
this
like a
car.
lot for me, to me, but I don't know something else.
$25 an hour, you said.
What I figured is, and I'm just saying that they're gonna have different levels of people working on it. So take an average of $85 an hour, that's about 3 days
But is that
worth
not,
of design and meeting.
but is that not the company's way to make sure it's in their contract, not ours?
Well,
A little bit.
you gotta trust them a little bit too.
I mean,
This is an hourly contract, it's not a,
oh,
But it says not to exceed,
right,
it tells you
it's an
you
hourly,
can't exceed.
hourly max.
and they didn't exceed, but we don't know that they.
And normally they'll outline different levels within the office of who, if you have, you know, $85 an hour person working on it, or, you know.
Should we
100
ask for an itemized?
They have sent us one, they have sent us, y'all got that email packet last time.
They gave us an itemized on the old one.
But,
not on the new one. So,
I think we need to.
not knowing what they had to do to design those parking spaces, it's tough for me to say that 3 days is too much. If you just said how long does it take to design 3 parking spaces and put a contract together, 3 days is too much. But they said that there were several meetings that they got called back out for, and they had to make changes to the contract and that kind of thing. There are, as I understand it, there are no signed agreements anywhere on any of this. The only thing that they had is they sent that proposal and they got an email that said proceed.
There's nothing signed.
well, if they got an email from us that says proceed, that's as good as signed, ain't it?
Right, but it's not something.
And the fact that they performed, yes.
But then they're in back. They're in back.
Well, not,
Yeah.
Not
not for
according-
future design.
Yeah.
Oh,
For future design, they're not backwards.
Or
Backwards
We're
is,
using
if we end up designing it the same, but we're looking at doing that different now too.
So do y'all want to let, us try to negotiate against some more? Do you want to talk to him and see?
Let me talk to Paul too and see, I know he don't mind talking to me, and I'll
Using it in the future.
see if he remembers. He'd be more likely to remember than anybody.
so the other part of that, Scott just asked a question about how much we'd be using these guys in the future. Another part that we discussed is to go in and maximize the parking and the drives. You know, we had looked at pushing the drive for the fire department over toward that property line. In order to maximize the grades, we need to know where those property lines are. So what we asked Jones, Blair, Walter, and Tucker, who was the engineer we're talking about, we asked them if they would be interested in continuing on and doing whatever additional surveying that we needed. And they are interested in that. So we would be using them for that, and beyond that, I have no idea.
It may be worth, you know, if you all want to use the same company for that type of work, say, we'll continue to use you if you'll accept this much payment, whatever that amount would be.
Or if you throw in the survey.
So, yeah, and that's something that we gotta think out too, is that if we,
Because I can tell you, their survey's gonna cost a lot more than just a regular survey from engineering firm and stuff.
if we tell them, well, see here, it's kind of a catch-22, because they got 85% of what we need already done. So we don't wanna hire somebody to go and retrace all that.
Now, because it costs us more in the
That's
long
why I
run.
asked the question.
Right, but if we hit them too hard on this right now, we may very well escalate the price on the remainder of that survey, so it's, gotta be careful.
Because if we start ahead and start all
If they've
that
got
over-
all that done, they might just go ahead and finish the survey for us and then us pay them the amount they're asking for now and be done with. I think that'd be I think they'd be satisfied with that too. I think it'd be a fair thing for both parties.
Days they have left on this survey, would you estimate?
I don't know, I asked you to do that.
Uh,
Problem, one of the things is, we don't have the exact scope on what we got, so it's difficult to say.
You talking about survey or topographic? Or both? Okay. Well, that might be a little much to ask for.
All we have on the property is we've got a description that was included in the sales contract. We don't have a true boundary survey that we've been able to find. So they're gonna have to do some kind of research there, see if they can tie in the property to the topographic survey that they've got, which they should be able to do if they can recover some monuments. But, you know, we don't have an exact scope, so they can say it's gonna cost you $500, $2,000, or whatever.
Okay, so we want to still negotiate some more and see. what we can do.
Let me, like I say, let me talk to Paul, he might remember exactly what it was, and if he says, well, they said they would include the $1,700, and once we say Paul said that, you know, they may take the $1,700 back off.
Okay, so you're gonna report back to us at the next meeting?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe worth getting that scope of running and what they will do, won't do in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
And get the mayor sign off on it.
Yeah, I think so.
And here is, there is mention of ADA parking, ADA access at the main entrance at the front of the building. And there is master planning for parking areas included. But nowhere does it say, and this is, my understanding is that this came up separate from this. So they had a contract to look at all the parking. So then we needed parking spaces out here for
ASAP.
as soon as possible. So they broke that out separately and did that work, and that's what we will do with $1,700.
So y'all wanna revisit the next meeting then?
Well, are they upset or anything, or?
No, he was,
Okay, well, let me, and if, maybe we should, well, I take it on me to approve, you know, say, according to what Paul says, we just need to just find out what Paul says, and then.
Then
just
report
act.
back to
It's
us.
not but 2 weeks, so,
And you probably need to authorize an agreement to at that time.
yeah.
We can get a canned agreement as long as the scope's in writing and so you all are satisfied.
Yeah.
What's supposed to be done.
Call them and go ahead and tell them to give us a scope for the survey and topographic. In the meantime, and then we can make the whole agreement at the next meeting, maybe. Agree to pay them and agree to,
and understand that's part of the catch-22,
yeah.
because we're looking at new engineers to complete this work.
Yeah, but we're ending at that, at the topographic.
But they gotta tell us if they need anything additional to complete their work.
Okay, well, you check
So they-
into that part.
They can't start until we pay these guys.
Yeah, these guys gotta
Yeah.
be paid
We
before
can't
they do
get-
anything.
We can't get this
Yeah.
resolved with these guys until we find out what they need. See what I'm saying?
Okay. So find out what we gotta get what they need from them. Just the catch-22 part. So
We do.
I'll find out as quick as I can from Paul, if he knows anything.
We do, but what I'm saying is those guys can only go so far into their work.
And remember, they're trying to help us get that Alpha grant to do that
The new guys.
feasibility
The
study.
new guys.
The new guys.
The new guys can only do very limited.
Just go so far.
Yeah. So I'll ask, I don't know if that's something they can provide us this time, they get deeper into it. That's where I'm saying maybe a catch-22. We need something from one before we can give to the other, so they can give us an answer.
And then go
But
back
at
to
the
the
same
first
time,
one.
these guys may not be able to give us an answer yet.
Complicated. So you're gonna get back to us as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Contract with that.
Yeah. Okay, I skipped
I
over.
will say, that I'll throw this out there. Keep in mind that however long we chase this thing, we're only about $1,700.
Do you wanna go ahead and do it? Is that what you're saying? Just go ahead and pay them, or?
No, I think it's worth asking a question. If somebody has something somewhere that says this was included, or this was not, or we talked about this, it was included, I think it's worth that. I'm just saying that we don't need to be chasing this.
No,
you know,
3 or 4
3
months.
Yeah, no, I'm not for that. We'll get it where we can decide it next meeting and be done with it.
Okay, I skipped over this, and Scott just pointed out to me. I think we need to appoint one media person with the social media stuff, because at all the EMA meetings and stuff that we went to, they've stressed to us that we don't need to have 5 or 6 people answering questions, getting on Facebook or getting on social media and putting a bunch of stuff that one end of the road might not know what's happening at the other end of the road. So I think we need to appoint one person to handle that. So I talked to Chief Platts, and I talked to Mr. Alan Busworth, which was here with the police department. And I asked them what their suggestion was. Their suggestion was, since they're first responders, and they're usually the first ones out there on the scene anyway, is for the police to report back to their chiefs as to what's going on. Firemen reports back to their chief as to what's going on. And then us maybe, and then report to one person as to what needs to be said if there's some kind of major emergency here in Argo. Because I think it's confusing when we have, when you have 4 or 5 people trying to answer, and we're gonna end up with the wrong information out there. And if we have one spokesperson for the whole city, then I think it would eliminate a bunch of problems in the future. So I would like for y'all to think about that. We don't have to do anything tonight. I would like for y'all to think about that, and y'all come up with some ideas as to who that person y'all feel like would be. Because we need, I don't think it'd be right to ask the fire or the police to do that, because they're too busy with their responsibilities if there's some kind of emergency. But I do think we need a spokesperson to make sure that the right information gets put out. Because if we have too many people answering questions, there's going to be, one may have a different opinion than somebody else.
Let me just tell you, anytime I ever saw anything like this going on, it's the mayor that makes the announcements.
Well, that's fine. I don't mind being that person, but I want y'all to make that choice. I don't want to be that person to make that choice. I would like for y'all to be the person to make the council to think about it, and we don't have to do anything tonight. I just want to make sure the county commission pointed that out to me. Ellen Tanner at the EMA pointed that out to me, that we need one spokesperson responsible for getting in touch with anybody that needs to know anything that's going on here, or if we have anybody from the media that wants to talk about a problem we're having here, they need that one person to be able to handle everything.
We're knocking that out tonight.
I am too.
The other thing that we need to discuss is we need a plan of action with all of us here too, of who calls who, what goes on during these disasters, because nobody was called. I wasn't called.
Why would we be called? We got the fire department, the police department, all to take care of it.
But you're still elected by your community people.
I mean,
and you still need to
We're
come
supposed to
out,
oversee and
but
stuff. I was there and everything.
I was there too, but I mean, we need a plan ourselves with the police and the fire.
Well, most of us are CERT trained. You volunteer at the fire department and everything, so.
I'm a volunteer here too.
I started getting calls from, I got one from the police department that we had some major problems. So I said, I'm headed to the city hall. And that is another thing that was suggested to us, that everybody not drive their own personal vehicles with their flashers on and stuff, to bring their vehicles to city hall, park your city vehicles, and if there's an emergency somewhere and you're needed there, let some emergency personnel take you there. Don't drive your own vehicle.
Couldn't get to see them.
Yeah, I understand y'all couldn't. But that's what they're saying. This is some of the suggestions that was given to me, that we don't need to be driving our own personal vehicles and these kind of things.
With flashers going and all this crap in there.
Bring your vehicle to City Hall, park your vehicle, and then let emergency personnel come pick you up if there's something you need to do. That's a good point, to bring up.
We need a plan. You gotta build a plan.
Okay. So does somebody want to be in charge and get a plan? I just think you should do that.
County campaign, it's one of them, we're going to help put together the basic plan in these kind of situations.
Do we really need all the council out there in the way of?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To begin with?
You're not trained
One
personnel.
plan's
I'm
not
too
good.
old. I'm too old.
And I don't expect to see every.
Well, I don't mind. I'm there.
I mean, seriously.
I'm there.
That's why I was
Somebody, if I'm there, I don't mind helping. If there's something I can do to help, but I mainly just stay out of the way. And if somebody needs to ride down the other end of the place or something, I can do that. But
Well,
I mean, we got fire chiefs and we got firemen and everything. That's what they're here for, because they're trained. The search people are trained. Some Hey, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I've been working on that with the CERT, I could actually help y'all with that for y'all as
With
well.
the plan?
Because we have, yes.
Plan for CERT.
Okay, problem
So,
solved.
I mean,
And
All
that's
right,
what
if anybody's interested in, we're gonna have Michelle, hold a meeting for us, and then we'll talk to,
I have an email on the text message.
Somebody's
Well,
gonna
I think
do
we
it.
could have you, Janet, on the show.
We can't, we just have to do that thing
But I mean,
with,
we.
you know, Ford and Brown show up.
No, we directed traffic with that real life.
can we do that?
I was good.
as a council? Have more than 3 of us show up and.
Well, that's what this is all about. We're gonna have a plan and find out what can do and what we're expected to do. And
If it's a training event like that, and city council members show up, it's not intended to be a deliberation about something you're gonna do.
Yeah, because I know none of y'all have been on the scene within 15 to 30 minutes after it happens. I have, but I know y'all have.
I have too.
I mean,
You know, what I'm saying is let her come
yeah,
committee to do this, the work will be shared.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be you, I think it needs to be Ronnie, because he's there, and then whoever else wants to be on.
And it could be a training type thing, if she's got the expertise to train you all, or to just brainstorm and put together a plan. Even if,
I think the police and the fire need to be in on this too.
Well, then why don't we just plan a meeting in for training and just invite all city personnel that wants to come to it? And then at that point, then we can, if there were y'all want
I
to.
think that's what CERT says,
Well, the fire and
whether you're city personnel or not.
Michelle, if you don't mind, get with me on a day that you would be available, and then we'll take it from there. We'll send out notices that there's going to be a training.
If you're on city council, you're not automatically expelled from CERT or anything, are you?
So whenever we hear from Michelle, then we'll bring this, she can plan a meeting, or a training for us, and then we will, take it from there. Also, the 2016-2017 E911 payments due, that is in your folder there. $37,152 is due. So I'll need somebody to make a motion for us to go ahead and pay that tonight. Also, the juvenile detention fees of $4,359 is due.
So I know we can't do this on this E911. Chief Platts, you don't have trouble with the radios like the police department as far as,
Not quite like the police, we used to before we went to digital. Digital's presented a whole different brand of problems.
They're higher tech problems now.
Exactly.
what else?
King Crow comes first, he said, maybe you'll get them. He said, you're probably going to get some of the training, and then I got that today.
So what I was gonna say, I know we gotta pay that E911, that's our responsibility to pay that. Can we have some kind of conversation with them about the service?
We have had in the future, in the past, we have had several conversations with them about the service. I don't think there's anybody that's not had some kind of problem with the radios. That's not true, Glenn?
That's absolutely true. We could use another repeater out here, I think, is one of the problems. We have dead spots where we just don't get out, or we can't receive them. We have to call them on our cell phone in order to communicate when somebody from NCIC to see if we're running around.
What is a repeater?
So we don't supply the repeaters here, right? They supply the repeaters. Okay.
Yeah, because I have actually been, on patrol with Jack when he was trying to communicate with dispatch, and they couldn't communicate one way or the other. We could hear them, they evidently couldn't hear his response, and so he was actually having to call them. Now, that was on something that.
I know
was
my
not-
area where I live, they have a hard time up there.
Yeah, it was not that big a deal what he was trying to communicate with him on at that time, but it could be. If he needed backup or needed help or something that was emergency, that's a big deal. And we're paying a lot of money.
It has been in the past, we've brought it up several times per year about, what they're gonna do, and they just don't seem to be listening to anybody, because Springville has that problem, Odenville has that problem, Margaret has that problem,
Yep, everybody's got the same
I
problem.
wonder if there was a joint effort yearly to have either the mayor or the police and fire commissioner go to the county commission on a yearly basis. And if they had a representative from every municipality that was having issues with that, then that might help.
I think it'd be a great help.
I think squeaky wheel gets oiled, and I think if that's a yearly problem, then it needs to be addressed yearly by the municipality representatives that are having issues.
Glenn, do you know if James has talked to Billy Murray?
I do not. I do not.
Speaking from having currently even representing the county, all it takes is a municipal representative to come and say, we need a repeater because we got life and safety issues at hand, and we need a repeater, and the county says, okay, we're good. So normally that, what you're talking about works.
Tony, do you think that maybe that would help us if we could get Margaret, Odenville, Springville, and if I could call and talk to those mayors and see if we could get one person from each one of those cities to get a group to go to St. Clair County.
That's not what he's saying. He's saying we need to go.
Now, he's the repeater.
Just
He's
for us.
saying the county.
We don't need all of them going with us. We want to get the
Yes.
attention.
They supply,
Let
they
Springville
need to
decide if they
supply.
need it or
We
not.
need to go as a group.
That's not what he's saying.
Well,
No, he's saying-
no, what I'm saying is, in my experience, that when people do come and tell them what the real issue is about communication, that's been the success, is just when they come. You know, obviously, there's success in numbers, and that helps, but certainly representatives, elected officials going to the county makes a big difference, saying that we've got real issues.
If it's one municipality, but if it's.
We'll get a
If
repeater.
it's all.
If it's all of them, they allowed to say we
If
can't
it's-
afford it.
No, I believe that if there is an issue in every municipality, and the county is the one that negotiates this E911, they're the ones that
They're not
purchase.
outrageously expensive, depending on where you have to put
And
You
that
got
one
something
repeater
to
could
say,
assist three cities, just one repeater could help us.
Right.
It's gonna take something, a major coalition, and it's gonna be the county commission and the E911 board as well. There's been multiple departments even going on the news complaining about it in St. Clair County. Both the level of training at the dispatchers compared to other dispatch centers and the system itself being faulty. It has not done any good for years. There's been a lot of pain, raising pain done about it, but there hadn't been a coalition of the different cities put together.
And that's what I think we need, a coalition of
Very
the whole- of
important.
every city that's having these problems, to merge on them and let them know that it's not just this city over here or this city over here. All these cities are having problems with it.
personal appearances a little farther than the letter writing.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm saying, do I need to call these mayors and see if we can get together somebody in each city to maybe go to them and talk to them? I could call Ellen and see if somebody from the EMA would go.
The mayor's breakfast is in a few days too, I think.
Yeah, and that's something we could bring up.
Or should we call before we decide where we want to go as a group or where we want to go as our city? Should we call Commissioner Crowe, tell him what we're thinking, and ask him where we're going to be more effective? By
Yeah, I can do that.
ourselves or
I can do
group?
that.
Oaks,
There's always power in numbers.
if we carry a
As a
group
success
from the
in
party.
that this exact thing.
Was there success?
So, yeah, I can do
in
that. I can do that
the
tomorrow. I'll call Mr. Grove and tell him what.
Did they get a solution? Did they get help with their issues?
They pay for the computer.
The county did, or
Who went?
Blount County went?
Well, they had multiple people.
From multiple towns?
Yes, at different times come and say, this is me, this is me. Finally, the county commissioner said, yes, that's.
I don't see our county commission not responding to
Not
that.
especially if they're not really expensive.
They've been very good about open communication and stuff like
see
that.
that being.
The fire side, going digital, had to finance its own system and have the repeaters and stuff installed on their own finances, which was done through a grant through Moody, City of Moody. And the City of Argo pitched in $7,000 or $8,000, which every municipality did to add to that grant to make it happen, which are still problems within that system as well, but we're still way ahead of the police department. They have total dead spots, no communication, period. Like I said, digital's got its own brand of problems.
Okay, we'll start with
So
calling
the
the county
police
commission.
department is digital.
They're still
We probably, you do some kind of study to find out where the dead spots are and where the best place for a repeater is.
Well, I think somewhere off Interstate 59, where we have a lot near our city limits, going north, right around the 150. kind of got a dead spot in that area.
And us being out in the edge of the county hurts us on that too. They won't put them where they benefit the most people, and if we're out at the edge of the county.
And they may need to just update the system too. I mean, it might not even be a repeat, they just may need to update the system. Which
That's what I'm saying, we need research, we need somebody to research.
Okay, we're gonna move on because it's starting to get late, but, I will call Mr. Crowe tomorrow and, see what his suggestion is to how we start about doing this, and then he suggested, well, yes, we call the other municipalities, I will do that also. Okay, the purchase of the a vehicle for the police department, Tony, you have all the figures together, for that, and each one of you should have that in your packet.
Yeah, I do, so.
Can I just do one more thing, and I don't know if you've received this or not, but that was for the chief's car to convert it over. He's got blue light switches up top, they're gonna have the switches lowered, and the siren improved the PA system. And so
This is the car we're gonna swap over for patrol.
yes,
But this, does that include screen and stuff?
it does not, no, sir. I talked to the chief about that.
We got a figure of like, I think it was $1,400 or $1,500 is what we approved for the whole thing. So this is gonna be in addition to the research. Okay.
I made several
Okay.
convert the head.
Is that additional to what we already have, Tony?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is added to that total of $31,491 million?
This is for the chief's car.
Oh, okay, the one we're converting over.
Yeah, there was an issue, I guess, of where the wiring was at.
Yes, sir, where the light switches were and the siren, it was all installed overhead for some reason.
So we previously approved $1,400 and something, and somehow I ended up without a copy of that, it was 2 sheets, but it was an additional $495.
Mine says 495.
That's what mine is.
So which one is this camera installation? Glenn, is that also in that car?
All right, the camera installation, this is, I was gonna tell you about this, but they're letting us do a try-by watch guard, and we've installed the camera and the body cam. It's all integrated into one system. We had it installed, and that was the install price.
Okay.
That's the system we discussed
CCTV
before we were ever on council.
Yes, sir. And that's a CCTV system, and it's all...
So we're just having to pay to have it installed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we need to add this. It's already been installed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The 495 is for the wiring. I don't have a copy of that either.
So
Here it
they're
is.
taking it from the top and putting it down
There
here,
you go.
like all the other cars.
So back to the car, it looks like, if I'm understanding this correctly, the total for the car was $31,491. That's from the state bid list. In addition to that, the equipment of the car is an additional $5,138. And I'm assuming that does not include computer.
That's correct.
Where is it
That is in, wait, so here's that's the 31,000. And you got another sheet that shows the 5,000, 3 sheets.
I got one straight, 46.
On the,
For the,
that's what's on the
brass electronics, should be 3 sheets.
I don't have that.
So we're talking about that.
Just another 5,000.
yeah, certainly we talked about it.
So Tony, that whole total came to $36,629, and that's,
36,629.
and that's with everything that he needs on that car, on the new one when he gets it.
With the exception of a,
321, 36, 321.
36.
629.
So 31,491 for the car, 51,38 for equipment.
No,
Here it is.
yeah, but I mean, I would have a paper from you.
sorry. My wife looking for me, and I just hung up on her.
So, and
It's on video.
And the car, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or not. The car this is for one of Ford Explorers. Gray, and it's a base, it's got the base motor and everything. We're not upgrading the motors. And the only
I'm in
additional,
council meeting. Yeah.
the only option that we're having done is some wiring from the Ford.
We talked 2 or 3 different times, and I thought the car was gonna be like the cars we've got, the Dodges. We didn't get a price on any of them.
What the chief told me is that they've had several problems with them. I think they've had all 3 of the Chargers.
Yeah, they've given us additional problems. And the other thing about the SUV is it's higher up, it's safer when you're working traffic, when you're out in the middle, because it's above the rest of the vehicle. So you see that from a safety issue. Plus, there's more room in getting in and out of that Charger is a lot easier for us older people.
And I think this is actually from what, I hadn't seen any official numbers, but from what I understood, the base price of the car is cheaper than the Charger.
Yes, it is. It's actually cheaper.
And another thing that the chief brought up is this is getting us out of those Chargers are pursuit type vehicles. This is kind of getting us out of the pursuit type vehicles.
Anybody else have any other questions or anything on this? Everybody understands that it's gonna be $36,629 for the vehicle.
That was in the budget for not last year anymore.
I think they were
He had it in his equipment budget.
That comes out of that money that, on the farming equipment.
And it was only budgeted for the last year, 2 years last year. So the money
Is
should.
there anything else on that? If not, we're gonna be moving along because it's getting. Okay, I want to bring up too, the registration for the May 20 through the 23rd ALM convention. We need to know tonight because Amanda needs to, she's gonna be gone Thursday and Friday for her schooling. So if anybody's planning on going, she needs to know tonight because the discount, she has to have it in by Thursday, so she wanted to go ahead and do that Tuesday. If anybody plans on going, it's gonna be held in Birmingham this year. The fee for that is $350. And per person to go. And if you would like to have, reservations downtown, you can, but you don't have to. You can drive home since it's in Birmingham. So we need to know how many of the council is planning on attending that so she can make those, go ahead and get us registered tomorrow. I plan on going.
I can't plan anything if everything's going fine. Can you pay at the door?
Yeah, you can, yeah, but but it's $400 then, if you don't pay it off.
I already paid motel
The only
fees
thing
before I
is,
had to
if
get
you
it back.
pay it, you don't go, then you don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just pay at the door.
So, Tony, are you gonna be able to go?
No.
Ronnie?
No.
Ann's not.
And I don't know. Like I say, I'll pay at the door.
So Ann, and I are the only two that definitely yes. Okay,
Because this is not going to be paid for through the city, right?
yes, it's for education, so yes, it will be paid through the city out of the education fund. And do you know how much, Amanda, we have in the education fund?
I can get it tomorrow, email it to everybody.
I thought we
I'll
used.
just pay mine. Like I say,
Use the access.
I can't pay it.
Excuse me.
I said, I thought we used the access.
I don't know how much is in that account, and Amanda's gonna pull that.
Yeah, it wasn't
Because
exhaustive.
have we got all your bills, from Washington?
Almost.
They've already-
Haven't they?
They're not due yet, but we have to invoice them, so at the end of the month, they'll be due.
So,
It's not exhaustive, I don't know the exact number.
and I also want to mention tonight that everybody knows it's time to file another economic statement in April, so y'all make sure that everybody goes online and does that.
When's it due?
it's the month of April, you have to have it done in April. I think you have until the 30th, don't you, Amanda, to do that?
My understanding though, with everyone that, ran for the election, they should be covered. It was only the fire chief, police chief, and then office personnel.
So we don't have to.
You guys should be
I
fine.
was gonna ask you
Yeah.
about that, because I got to think about that.
Yeah, you guys should be fine.
So you're gonna send out how much exactly is in that fund tomorrow to everyone? Okay. Also tonight, we have Mr. Jeff Hodgson, his subdivision for Blackberry, is it Blackberry Lane? Blackberry? They're here tonight. And so we have that, if you'll look at that, he had sent us the information that he had provided to Trustful on it, and it should be in your packet. Now he's asking us not to vacate the road. He's not worried about that any longer, but he does want us to approve the plot plans. Would you come forward, Mr. Hodgkin, and let's go ahead and, okay, if you will kind of show them what you're talking about, what you want, to do now, that you changed your mind?
Okay, I just need, this is a new subdivision that's mainly in Trustful, but this portion of it is in the city of Argo. So I need signatures from the city of Argo to approve this subdivision.
Is there any roads that's going to be coming out onto the portion where Argo is going to his city limits?
There'll be 2 driveways here, and this parcel will have a driveway.
But there's no roads for Argo to maintain?
No roads of any of this. This is all just driveway access.
Why do we not need to abandon it anymore? It's taken care of.
Well, my concern was in the sale, but then I realized I bought it, and it didn't create a problem, so it shouldn't create a problem when I sell it. Not sure why it still shows up as a road.
So there will be no roads for Argo to maintain, just 2 driveways coming out onto, 3.
Is the title company gonna pick this up and have an exception on the title when you try to sell it?
They didn't on mine when I purchased. I just purchased it.
My point is, somebody found it in the.
I found it. It just shows up, when I got the tax maps from Jefferson County. Actually, this piece does not show up, but this little piece did. Now, I have the paperwork from Jefferson County where they abandoned it before Argo was incorporated.
They formally did it?
Yes, I have the paperwork where it's been formally abandoned. Okay. So I thought it was showing up just in the city of Argo, but here again, we discovered that was before Argo was even formed.
Okay.
So
It's just-
I don't think that's a problem.
That paperwork would go a long way.
Yeah, I don't think it's,
So
So
we
how
don't
much
have to
is
do
this?
anything.
That's correct.
just this little piece right here.
This piece right here.
Just that piece right there.
They formally abandoned it prior to Argo, and that does away with the issue altogether.
right.
I
Well,
think
there's
he
no
was mainly
road.
wanting us to just because he didn't feel real good about it.
Yeah,
But I think he's found out.
If the title picked it up, it'd be logical.
Yeah, but then I realized they didn't pick it up. They didn't complain. Like I say, we just purchased it 6 or 8 months
So
ago.
there's 3
I'm sure they were
driveways
picked up.
coming out.
No, it shows up on the
No.
county maps.
This is the
It's being part of
driveway.
Argo, so.
What road is this?
That's the road Bill Pruitt. This is Bill Pruitt's house right here.
This parcel
This goes up to Mike
driveway
Miles.
somewhere. And these are 2 flagpoles.
So Bill Woods and Tommy Johnson.
So there really be nothing
Bill
for the
Pruitt's
city to
right here, Tommy
maintain.
Johnson's with the
Nothing for the
house.
city to
That
maintain.
one.
Well,
This is a, whose road is this?
that's Will Keith Road. Now, I have no idea what your
That's the one,
involvement is in Will Keith.
that's the one,
Is this?
we share some responsibility for it with Trustful. Back there where I was wanting to give the boy, let him out of city limits, they were talking about Trustful and Argo had to share cost on that road. I don't know, by the time it gets up here, it may be all Argo.
I believe so.
I don't know about this side, it may not be, that may be what it is.
Well, my only question is, do we want 2 driveways that close together?
we did have a map there that showed what was where. Whatever happened to that new map we were gonna get?
It's back there, you know.
Those are 30-foot strips for those two flags.